Hey dear friends, I'm excited to show you a flick about what true relaxation is for us blokes. All the toils and joys we're willing to go through. We're up at the crack of dawn, driving to the ends of the earth, trekking through forests, swamps, mountains, and rivers, sometimes facing extreme conditions just to get as far as possible. It's all about immersing ourselves in the wild, tackling every hardship, proving we can still conquer new frontiers, being the providers, feeling that ancient winter instinct. Today, we're off on another journey. A 3-hour drive in our trucks through mountain passes with trailers mostly carrying tracked vehicles, meaning we're deep into snowy woods, heading to a hunting cabin by a quiet lake for 2 nights. We'll be breaking through drifts at night, catching fish, tearing through off-road trails on winter gear, and simply soaking up nature, with a crackling fire on the crisp snow. Munching on the tastiest meat and fish with aromatic tea in the warm company of pals. We've got a crew of 10, 7 of us are carpooling to the meetup spot, where the 8th member of our expedition will be waiting for us, and 2 more buddies are joining us closer to midnight. All right, let's get acquainted. Let's kick it off with Karen. Karen, our guide, loves his brew. Strong-willed, persistent type, in charge of the fire, married. We arrived almost on schedule. The road was decent, just had some wet snow over the pass, and the temperature dropped to 0 Celsius. From this drop-off spot, according to our guide, Karen, it's about an hour's ride through the woods to the cabin, but that's on a good road. It's 5 p.m. now. Everyone's geared up and ready to take on the snow off-road. We quickly unload the gear from the trailers and trucks and get ready to battle through the snow. We're layering up and packing the essentials. By local standards, the snow's moderate, just above the knee, but in some spots, it's waist-high. We brought sleds along, loading up the biggest stuff onto them since all the vehicles are packed to the brim. No space to spare. We've got 2-wheeled vehicles with us, but considering the roads buried in snow and not packed down, we reckon we'll be dragging those behind us. Plus, there's probably going to be fallen trees to deal with. Following one another, we head into the deep darkness of the foothill forest, ready for whatever comes our way. And sure enough, adventure's right around the corner, barely a kilometer in, and we're already having issues with the sleds. They keep tipping over because they're hitched to the ATV, and ahead of us are 2 more ATVs on tracks, churning up and compacting the snow, forming a narrow track. The sleds keep slipping from side to side in that track. Not a problem you'd see with sleds hooked up to a snowmobile with its track right down the middle, making it glide like through a tunnel. On top of that, every time we stop because of the sleds tipping, the wheeled ATV immediately gets bogged down in the loose snow. We all gotta stop, hook up the winch to the nearest tree, and try to push forward. We couldn't redistribute the load among the other vehicles, so we decided to balance it out using a live counterweight and adding extra weight to stabilize the sleds. I found a comfortable position, standing with one foot on the knee and the other on the foot, almost behind the sleds, holding onto the rope with one hand so I could quickly bail if things went south. Our plan worked, and we picked up speed, nearly hitting 40 kilometers per hour. I kept in mind that if I fell, I needed to quickly roll off to the side so the vehicles behind, even at a safe distance, could stop without hitting me. But, you know, the forest is the forest, and there it was, a bump, and the sleds tipped, tossing me off gently into the soft, deep snow. Now we had a new breakdown. The latch on the sled attachment to the ATV bent, while we waited for Alex, who was trailing behind, pulling Nikita on the wheeled ATV, trying to fix the problem with the available carabiners, standing right on the ice near the edge of the big lake. Meanwhile, the weather brought heavy snowfall. In the pitch darkness, my flashlight only caught glimpses of the headlights, the silhouettes of the guys, the nearby trees, and the snowflakes falling faster and faster from the sky. We didn't wait long before those behind caught up, riding in a triple line to ensure nobody got stuck or fell off the packed track. Now we were together again, sharing our experiences and catching our breath before moving on. The snow here was even looser, and the loaded sleds weren't as easy to pull as in the woods. We had to cross the entire lake from one end to the other, just over a kilometer across the ice and open terrain. The ice on the lake was over a meter thick, so the vehicles rode alongside without much worry. I hopped back into the car with Alex, and we quickly crossed the lake. Alex, a determined workaholic, extremely positive, kind-hearted individual. He's responsive, explosive, but always restrained. Our technician, married. So, we safely make it to the edge of the forest on the other shore, only to plunge back into the snow. Now, even the Yamaha on track starts sinking, all because of the heavy load and the narrow single track, making it nearly impossible to ride side by side. The vehicle keeps tipping, leading to frequent stops and winch-assisted rescues. Plus, the terrain in the forest becomes steeper, with small descents and climbs. We're stuck here. According to our guide, Karen, and it won't get any easier towards the cabin. We realize time is now against us. Luckily, it's only -3 degrees Celsius, and there's no wind in the forest. But even with these weather conditions, we don't want to stay here until dawn with a tent camp out. So, we make the next decision. Karen and Sasha ride slightly ahead to scout the road. Daniel, Alex, and I stay behind to dig out the stuck vehicles. The other guys, since the path forward is blocked by the Yamaha, turn their wheeled vehicles back towards the lake, about 100 meters behind, to unload some cargo. They'll leave 3 of our guys with 2 cars and sleds to unpack while we clear the path to the cabin. If everything goes well and we unload our stuff at the cabin, we can easily return and pick them up safely. The hustle and bustle of work consumes us all. After freeing up the Yamaha, we assist the guys in turning back. Even with 6 of us, it's not that easy. Veering slightly off the beaten path leads to waist-deep snow, and tying the winch to a tree takes time and effort. Meanwhile, amidst the roar of engines, we hear the cracking of trees and the rustling of snow falling from the branches. It's desolate out here. It's at this moment, nearby, that I stumble upon an old forest cabin. I've never seen a structure like this before. Not even in the remote taiga with its extreme cold. Walls made of logs stacked in 2 rows. I've never spent a night in such a building, and I'm unsure how quickly the walls freeze, regardless of the thickness of the logs, if you don't keep the stove burning constantly while inside. And a setup like this, with double walls and an air gap between them, probably doesn't offer much protection against freezing. Share your thoughts in the comments. What do you think or know about why they built such walls in this old cabin? Sasha. Calm and collected. Responsive. Always ready to help. Reserved. Married. Finally, we reached the cabin, making the final push to our destination by crossing onto the second lake. The Yamaha couldn't handle 3 people and all the cargo. It just sank into the snow. As soon as we stepped out, it resurfaced and rushed towards the cabin in an instant. Quickly unloading all our gear into the cabin, we set about preparing firewood, stoking the stove, and laying out our sleeping bags for the night. In the meantime, the guys returned to the first lake where our fellows were stranded and effortlessly brought them all here, almost right behind them. Literally within 10 minutes, our last participants of this trip, Slava and Oleg, arrived following our tracks. It took us 4 hours to traverse from the drop-off point to the cabin, although the whole journey should have taken no more than an hour. The evening turned out to be wonderful. After packing everything away, we cleared and prepared the cabin and the surrounding area for our stay. The light from our generator filled the entire house with warmth, and the hot stove quickly dried our damp clothes and boots. We lit a big bonfire in the clearing near the cabin with the wood we prepared earlier. Nikita prepared barbecue for everyone, juicy and fragrant ribs that we brought along. Under the invigorating influence of a successful trip without major mishaps or breakdowns, we all enjoyed ourselves until late into the night, sharing funny stories around the crackling fire, gazing into the flames that greedily consumed the thick logs, radiating even more warmth and merriment, flickering and illuminating everything around. This is yet another reason why we're drawn here, the utter silence and tranquility. Sitting on a simple log, without any comfort, listening to the rustling of tree crowns in the wind and the crackling of wood, you completely relax, letting go of all worries and thoughts, enjoying complete harmony with nature.